When you hear the word intelligence, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it, test scores? Or maybe something more personal?
Yeah, it's often that single number, isn't it? The IQ score.
It really is. For so many of us, it just boils down to that.
It's a common perception, absolutely. And it's interesting how deep that traditional view still runs.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the truly fascinating world of intelligence.
Mm,
Our mission, it's really to unpack some different sources, mainly Philip Carter's The Complete Book of Intelligence Tests, and figure out what intelligence really means.
right, and how it's been measured over time.
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, how you can actually boost your own mind strength.
Yeah, we'll start with those foundational ideas about IQ, then we'll kind of open it up to multiple intelligences.
Okay.
Look at some honestly surprising stuff about how the brain works, and even touch on emotional intelligence, EQ, and memory too.
Seems like quite a journey.
It is. It's a journey into understanding, the amazing potential inside your own head.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning then. If we're talking intelligence, what's the sort of core definition? How did people first try to pin this down?
Well, Carter's book gives a pretty clear starting point. Intelligence is uh, the capacity to acquire knowledge and understanding and use it in different novel situations.
Okay, so it's not just knowing things.
Exactly. It's about applying it,
Hmm.
adapting, learning from what your senses tell you in the real world.
That difference feels really important, not just what you know, but what you can actually do with it.
Mhm.
And to study this properly, we invented things like the IQ test. These tests are designed specifically to measure how well someone adapts, but in a specific controlled setting.
And a really key thing to think about is how early psychologists, like Charles Spearman back in the early 20th century,
Hmm.
how they saw it.
Right.
He mostly treated intelligence as this single general ability. He actually called it the G factor.
That's G factor. Okay.
Yeah, this sort of underlying thing that works across different skills, verbal, math, spatial reasoning, all that.
That's a powerful idea, isn't it? This core G. Did people push back against that much, or was it pretty accepted for a while?
Well, his research seemed to show that people who were good at one type of mental task tended to be good at others too, which suggested, common underlying processes.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, more recent studies kind of back this up in a way. They found that a specific brain area, the lateral prefrontal cortex,
Okay.
gets really active when people are tackling tough puzzles, suggesting it might be a sort of central hub for this G factor for complex thinking.
Wow. Connecting it to actual brain activity.
Mm.
That makes it feel very real. But hang on, testing intelligence goes way, way back, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
The source mentions the ancient Chinese Mandarin system, like 500 BC. They were picking top officials based on how well they understood Confucius.
Yeah, and these are like the top 1% of the top 1%. Incredible selection.
It really shows this long history, this enduring human quest to figure out and measure intelligence, always refining it.
And sometimes challenging it, too. Then you fast forward to 1916, you get Louis Terman, an American psychologist.
Right.
He coined intelligence quotient IQ with his update of an earlier test, the Binet-Simon scale. It became the Stanford-Binet test.
And that's where the whole mental age versus chronological age thing came from,
Right.
multiplied by 100.
Exactly. And then, boom, World War I. The U.S. Army does the first mass IQ testing. That really pushed these tests into the public eye.
A huge undertaking.
Massive. And by the 20s and 30s, studies started making things a bit more nuanced. They began distinguishing between fluid and crystallized intelligence.
Okay, fluid and crystallized. What's the difference there?
So fluid intelligence is more about your ability to reason and solve new problems.
Yeah.
Think on your feet, basically. It's often measured with things like diagrams, spatial puzzles.
Got it. Independent of what you already know.
Right. Whereas crystallized intelligence is all that stuff you've learned. Your accumulated knowledge, vocabulary, number skills, measured through language and math, usually.
So even back then, within that sort of traditional model, they were seeing different kinds of mental ability.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a really critical point the source makes about the snapshot limitation. It says a high IQ score, yeah, it's nice to have, but it's definitely not the only thing that leads to success. What does that really mean for how we should see these tests?
It means, well, that they're useful but limited. They give you a snapshot, like you said, information about specific skills, maybe verbal, maybe numerical.
But not the whole story.
Not at all. Not the whole picture of someone's potential or their capabilities. And that's exactly why this second school of thought popped up, basically saying, hey, maybe intelligence isn't quite this simple.
Right. Which leads us nicely into this expanding horizon, the idea that there's more than just IQ.
Definitely. It's getting much more recognized now that there are different types of intelligence.
And other quotients are becoming important too. Things like creative quotient, CQ, and emotional quotient, EQ.
Yeah, and some people now see those as just as important, maybe even more important, than the traditional IQ.
The source makes a great point too about how things like being really artistic or creative or just practically smart,
Hmm.
especially if you combine that with stuff like ambition or being easy to work with, compassionate, that can lead to huge success even if someone bombs an IQ test.
Absolutely. And this is where Howard Gardner's theory really comes into play. Multiple intelligences, or MI.
Ah, yes, Gardner.
He fundamentally challenged that old narrow view of just one general intelligence. Gee, he said, no, humans have several different independent intelligences.
That feels like such a crucial message for you listening.
It is. The main takeaway is huge. Carter says it is completely wrong to write off or even put down someone who has scored badly in an IQ test.
Yeah.
Why? Because all of us have the potential for achievement in some kind of intelligence.
And we also possess the potential for improvement in many other areas.
Wow. It really shifts the whole focus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From one single score to this whole vibrant spectrum of human abilities.
It's so much more empowering. And Gardner listed quite a few, right? Like linguistic, obviously language.
Yep. Linguistic, body kinesthetic, physical skill,
Musical, rhythmic,
logic mathematic, the traditional sort of smart
visual, spatial.
interpersonal understanding
It was
others.
interpersonal understanding yourself.
Right. And the book we're looking at adds two more based on Carter's interpretation, creativity as the eighth intelligence
Okay.
and memory as the ninth.
Interesting. And Gardner actually thought these different intelligences were like physically located in different parts of the brain.
He did, and his idea gets some support from studies of people with brain damage.
How so?
Well, for instance, someone might lose their ability to speak normally because of an injury,
Uh-huh.
but they might still be able to sing the words perfectly well.
Mm-hmm.
Suggests different neural pathways are involved, right? Distinct abilities in distinct areas.
That's fascinating. So if these intelligences are distinct, maybe even localized, it makes you wonder how much of our total brain potential are we even using?
Yeah, and the source hits you with that stat. On average, we only use about 2% of our potential brain power.
2%.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is startling, but, I don't think it's meant to be discouraging. It's more like an incredible invitation. Think of all that untapped potential
Just waiting there.
waiting to be unlocked. By thinking differently, trying new things, deliberately exercising our minds. The brain is our greatest asset, right? And like any muscle.
It needs exercise. It needs care.
Exactly. In the same way as other parts of the body.
So that old idea that our brains are fixed once we're adults, that's just wrong. Can our brains really keep growing and changing?
Totally wrong. It's an outdated myth. A lot of people still think, the brain you're born with isn't, and cells just die off as you age.
Yeah.
But no. We now know adult brains can grow new cells. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
And they can keep making new connections, stronger connections. Neuroplasticity, they call it.
Neuroplasticity. Okay.
It's a total game changer for understanding our potential.
This ties into that split brain research, doesn't it? Roger Walcott Sperry back in the 60s.
Spot on. He won a Nobel Prize for it. He showed that creative functions seem to be controlled mostly by the right hemisphere of the brain.
The right side. Which for most people is the side we don't use as much.
Generally, yeah. The left hemisphere usually handles the orderly stuff. Sequence, logic, numbers, language.
So you've got the logical left and the creative right.
Kind of. But the key thing is, for your brain to work optimally, you need both sides working together.
Yeah.
In harmony.
How does that work?
Well, the left brain provides the sort of fuel, the data, the raw material
Okay.
for the creative right brain to work with. But there's a danger. If you overload the left side with too much data, too fast.
It hinders the creative side.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
But equally, if you starve the left side, don't give it enough input, then the right creative side can kind of dry up.
Ah, so it's about balance.
It's all about striking that healthy balance. That lets the whole brain work to its full potential.
Which probably explains why concepts like lateral thinking are so useful. Dr. Edward de Bono's idea.
Exactly. Thinking outside the box. It's about tackling problems from different angles, finding unique solutions, not just the obvious direct ones.
It's like actively firing up that underused right hemisphere.
Precisely. And the source points out, quite rightly, that a lot of creative talent just stays dormant, untapped, because of, modern pressures, specialization.
We get stuck in our routines.
We do, which is why it encourages us to keep exploring new avenues, new experiences, new learning adventures. Pick up a new hobby.
Because?
Because, as Carter says, most of us never know what we can actually achieve until we try.
That's a good motivator. And talking about creativity, you have to mention Einstein's quote, right?
Oh, yeah. Imagination is more important than knowledge.
Powerful stuff. And imagination isn't just daydreaming, is it?
No, it's an active process. It's about taking memories, images, experiences you've had, and recombining them in new ways. Novel constructions.
The book gives that great example of reading jumbled words.
Right, where only the first and last letters are right and the middle's a mess.
Yeah. But you can still read it.
Your mind just takes over. It uses its past experience, its knowledge of the word as a whole to make sense of it. It's creating a perception based on existing knowledge. Pretty cool.
Very cool. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've touched on IQ, creativity, but what about emotional intelligence? EQ. It seems like we're realizing more and more that just being book smart or having high aptitude scores, it's not the whole package, especially at work.
Absolutely. A high score might get you an interview, impress employers on paper.
But it doesn't tell the full story?
Not at all. EQ gets into those behavioral and character elements, as Carter puts it. The things that really dictate how successful we are in interacting with the world and with others.
Like, does someone actually enjoy the work? Do they fit in with the team? Can they handle pressure?
Exactly. It's the human element, not just the academic or technical skill.
It really makes you think. I mean, we've all known incredibly bright people who struggle because they maybe lack some of those soft skills, right?
Definitely. And EQ covers so much important ground. The source talks about managing anxiety, knowing if you're more introverted or extroverted, cultivating optimism, building self-confidence. These are crucial life skills, way beyond just a job.
And I liked that the source actually gives practical tips for building self-confidence.
Right, that was useful.
Things like evaluating your life based on your standards, not comparing yourself to others all the time.
Right, and focusing on your strengths, your achievements.
Seeing failures not as disasters, but as learning opportunities. Taking calculated risks. Embracing change.
Accepting that perfection isn't really attainable. It's solid advice.
Really practical stuff for anyone listening. Okay, finally we get to the ninth intelligence, according to Carter. Memory.
Ah, yes, memory. Fundamentally important. It's the whole process of storing information in the brain and then, crucially, being able to retrieve it.
So it's central to learning, to thinking.
Absolutely. The source makes a clear distinction. Learning is acquiring new knowledge, and memory is retaining that knowledge. Put them together, learning and memory. That's the basis of all our knowledge and abilities.
Wow, when you put it like that, its importance is huge.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Memory lets us consider the past, exist in the present, and plan for the future. Just think about it.
Yeah.
Every single thing we do, walking, talking, studying, working, relating to people, it all relies on memory in some way. It's fundamental to just being.
That's profound. And here's maybe the most hopeful part for you listening. The source says the more we use our memory, the better it becomes.
That's the key insight. It means you can actively work on it, stimulate it, enhance it, just by using it more.
So it's not fixed. It's like a muscle you can train.
Exactly that. Your brain, your memory, they're dynamic. They're adaptable. They can grow and improve your whole life long.
It's not about what you were born with.
Not entirely, no. It's about engaging, challenging, strengthening those connections.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, the big picture seems to be that intelligence is just way more complex, way more multifaceted than a single IQ number.
Absolutely. You, the listener, have your own unique mix of these different intelligences. Academic skills, sure, but also creativity, emotional strengths, memory.
It's a whole blend.
A unique blend within each person. We really hope you recognize that in yourself. Celebrate it.
And maybe the most important thing is to actively, exercise your brain.
Yes. Explore new things, keep learning, embrace discovering more about yourself. Your potential is probably way bigger than you think.
So maybe the real measure of intelligence isn't just about what we already know, but maybe it's about how ready we are to embrace all the endless possibilities of what we can still learn and become.